This is S.Yolanda in the Know. And listening audience, viewing audience, boy, do I have a treat for you. Guess what? I have the star of the upcoming opera that's going to be at the Lincoln Theater on June 21st and 23rd. He's going to be in the play, the opera, The Pirates. But his name is Eric McKeever, and he's from Columbus, Ohio. Yay! But Eric, how are you today?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being on the show. You know what? It is so good when you see people from Columbus doing good things like that you're doing, particularly in the field of opera. You have a starring role in Pirates coming up, and from what I've read your resume, you've been all over the world singing baritone. What inspired you to sing opera?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, as we were talking before the show started, I grew up in Columbus, went to St. Paul AME Church, and when I was very, very little, my grandmother, who had this amazing, gorgeous soprano voice, and it used to be so loud that it was tower over everybody else, and I was so impressed by that. And everyone in my family sings, and I just decided opera was what I wanted to do because it was acting, singing, and just really, really amazing. And we don't use microphones, so it was really amazing.
Oh my goodness! Now, what do you have to do to be an opera singer? What kind of training do you have to have, and how long does it take you to get to be a opera singer?
Great question. It's a lot of training. I like to think of us as the Olympic athletes of singing. We train for years and years and years. I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and then a lot of the opera companies around the country have training programs, like an apprentice program where you go and you work with professionals at opera companies there to get better and better. So my training probably took 15 years, and you learn everything from how to make the voice sound as beautiful as possible, how to make it as resonant as possible since we don't use microphones, how to sing in a bunch of different languages, how to move on stage combat, how to take on characters from different periods of history. It's a lot of work, but it is incredibly, incredibly rewarding when you're on stage and you're playing a character and the audience connects to it. It's amazing.
Yes, to get the audience to connect.
Yes.
Now, how many languages can you speak?
Fluently, none, but I
get on stage
but I can get around in Italian and French, and I've studied Spanish and German, and sing in French, Italian, and German the most. It's mostly Italian. That's one of the languages that some of the most beautiful operas are performed in. So I mean, I could say, how are you? Where's the bathroom? Here's what I want for dinner. I could get around a city, but like if someone is speaking really quickly, I would have to say, per favore, ripete per favore, repeat please, or, ripete s'il vous plaît, repeat it again in French. So, I'm enough to be dangerous, but I could get us around. I could get, like, if we were in Italy, we could get around and we would eat well.
Oh, okay, yes. So you have all the passwords.
That's right, exactly.
The words that you can get by.
Yes.
Now you starred in Porgy and Bess, is that correct?
I did the national tour of Porgy and Bess that came through probably like 12 years ago, and it did come through Columbus, Ohio. I was one of the artists in that, and actually that jump-started my return to singing. I had taken some time off. I went to New York and auditioned for the touring production, got cast in the role of Jake, and we were rehearsing in New York, and then I saw the schedule that it was coming to Columbus. And that was just amazing because, there's nothing better than coming back to your own hometown to perform. So.
Oh, yes. Now, did you study music in high school?
In high school, yes.
Wow.
Eastmore, we did everything. I was in choir, theater, and all of that, and I loved it. But I didn't know you could make a career out of it until I finished my bachelor's degree, and then I started doing research and hearing about this thing called opera, and I was like, oh, okay, well, what is this? How do I do it? And and I started studying, and I got hooked.
And you're full time, right?
Yes.
You don't do anything else but opera.
I'm one of the lucky singers in this business where I make my living as an opera singer, and it's a roller coaster. It's like being a freelancer. You're always trying to get jobs. You're always trying to be better at the job you have. So you have to really have an entrepreneurial spirit. Like you have to be like, I work for myself. I get up every day. I'm like, okay, who do I need to contact? I talk to my agent. It's nonstop. So you have to have a lot of energy.
But you've been all over the world. It looks like when I looked at your resume, you've been everywhere singing in the opera. It's taken you in many countries.
Yes.
Yeah, oh wow, that sounds like it would be interesting to expand your world.
It is. It's really exciting when you go. Most recently, I was in San Juan, Puerto Rico, performing there, and that was, first of all, it was one of the most beautiful halls I'd ever performed in, and the orchestra was amazing, and they happen to be bilingual. They speak Spanish and English. So our first rehearsals were in English, but then the full rehearsals with the orchestra were in Spanish, and so I was just trying to catch as much as I could, and I'm like, okay, I at least know where I'm supposed to be musically. So that's one of the tricky things of being an opera singer is when you're in another country, they don't stop and they don't speak English for you, so you have to really just try to get by the best you can, and it can be humbling but really exciting.
Now, can you have your own style when you're on stage? Or can you do that, or do you have to have stick with the music?
Oh yeah, you definitely, opera is all about replicating what's on the composer wrote. So we definitely sing exactly what's on the page, but something that we do that might separate us from another artist is we may hold a high note longer. We might sing a phrase that everybody would sing loud. We might sing it softly or vice versa. We might do something slower so that it shows our breath control, or we might add in extra. It will depend on the period. Like if it's earlier Baroque and classical period, you can do some ornamentation or improvisation, but you just have to let the conductor know you're going to do it. Like you can't do it on the spot.
Oh yeah.
But if the conductor knows you're going to do it, they will give you the opportunity to do some of that. So it can be fun.
Wow. Now, as an African American opera singer, what challenges have you had as an African American?
Well, part of the difficulty of any performing art form is that those who are in power sometimes have very limited imaginations about what we as singers of color can do. Porgy and Bess, I've definitely done a lot of Porgy and Besses, particularly earlier in my career, but there's a wealth of roles that I want to sing. I want to sing Mozart, I want to sing Puccini, I want to sing Verdi, I want to sing romantic characters, and so some of the challenges are convincing the people that are hiring singers that we can do more than just Porgy and Bess, or we can do more than just sing in English, So that's one of the challenges, and also
how do you overcome that?
You just keep singing. And right now, there is a real shift in the industry. You're seeing a lot more African-American singers in leading roles at big opera companies. There's a phenomenal soprano named Angel Blue, who is a big star at the Metropolitan Opera in New York, which is the biggest opera company in the world. And there are international stars. There's a South African soprano named Preta Yende. And so the doors are opening. And when they open a door, they also invite others to come in, and they have a stronger voice in the industry. And I'm also the same way. I'm always recommending other singers of color to conductors and artistic directors that I've worked with, and say, this person can sing more than just English. They're a phenomenal artist. So we're opening the doors for each other, while at the same time being the best we can be, so that there's no reason for them to say no, thank you.
Wow. What has opera? What has it taught you in a life experience, just being an opera singer? Is there anything that it's taught you?
Yeah, outside of constantly challenging me to be a better performer and technician as a singer. Opera is one of those art forms where people from all walks of life are involved in it, whether they're performers, whether they're the people that work on staff, whether they're the donors, because opera is a nonprofit, so a lot of the funding comes from very wealthy people. So, but then also I do a lot of community engagement where I go into schools and I try to work with singers of color. So for me, what it's done is shown me that music specifically is levels the playing field. We all respond to music, whether we're wealthy, poor, whether we're black, whether we're white, whatever, it has that power. And so it taught me that it's not just about me, actually. It taught me that I am a conduit for a higher power to bring music to people so that we have those moments of unity.
Oh,
yeah.
What would you tell, while you talked about going into schools, what do you tell young, aspiring opera singers? What do you tell them?
Well, I tell them you have to love it more than anything, because it can be a tough life, but the best part about it is anyone can do it if you work hard. Everybody in the business has challenges, but if you are determined to do it and you love the music so much and you love being on stage and you love the work part of it where you're translating and studying, it can change your world. I mean, I've had experiences that I would have never had I not been in opera, but you have to love it because it gets hard.
Now, we only have a few more minutes left, but you have to tell us about the role that you have in the private, which is going to be on June the 21st and June the 23rd at the Lincoln Theater.
Yes, so the show is Pirates of Penzance, and I play the Pirate King, and the Pirate King leads this group of pirates, and basically we just, we're not very good at our job, and my character is, as much as he is a leader, he's not the brightest bulb in the light socket, so he's not. He means well, but he's not great at his job. And eventually, even though he tries to kidnap these girls and execute certain people, he doesn't really do a good job out of it. So he's very funny. I'm having a lot of fun creating him on stage with the stage director and the conductor. We're having a great time.
So it's a comedy too.
Totally.
And it's for the entire family, I understand.
Yes.
It's and you know what I read? You think that you have to dress up for an opera, even though my niece said when she goes she's going to get a new dress and everything. Excellent. But when you don't have to dress up for this for this program. You can come as you are. But if you want to dress up, you can.
Absolutely. I think this, the opera is more about the experience. Yeah. Some people love to do the whole opera experience where they get dressed up, they go to dinner. That is fantastic. But if you want to come in jeans and a t-shirt and be comfortable, that's fantastic too. We just want people to, know that Opera Project Columbus is here as part of the community, and everyone is welcome, and that's why they're doing this really fun, family-friendly show.
And it's not that expensive. You would think that opera, I'm thinking it's like $80, $90, $100, but it's not. It's not that expensive, and you can bring your entire family.
Absolutely.
And even the little kids, they would enjoy it.
Yes.
So it would be a nice, clean-cut family affair that you can take it, and you might want to go across the street for dinner afterwards. Oh, Eric, it's been so nice to have you on the show. I'm going to be at that opera, me and my niece. Yay. And look, I'm going to see all of you. Thank you for being on S. Yolanda in the Know, and I'm going to see you out there at the opera. Ta 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 ta. And I'm going to see you next week. Guess what? I love you, and you can't do anything about it.